Plant Talk with horticulturalist Dave Decock is on the air and is brought to you by Thompson Greenery, Strand, Ace Hardware, Buffalo River Sales, Chisholm Trail Farm, The Garden of Healing, and Jean's The Right Plant Place. Dave, welcome back to the studio.
Oh, it's great to be here.
A text in, Dave says, what is Japanese rootweed? Does it grow in this area?
Well, I guess I haven't got a clue, to be honest with you.
So it must not grow in this area.
Unless it's a nickname for something. See,
Sure.
It could be a nickname for something. Japanese rootweed. I don't know if you can do it. If you could probably do a search.
Rootweed.
It might be just a common name, too.
Sure.
It says it's one of the world's most aggressive invasive plants. Known for its bamboo-like stems, its highly resistant roots, rhizomes can spread up to 65 feet wide and 10 feet deep. Plant damages infrastructures by pushing through concrete and asphalt.
Ooh.
It doesn't have a different name, though. It has its Latin name.
But it says knotweed, or maybe it's also called Japanese knotweed.
Well, we have knotweed, but we don't have any knotweed like that. Bamboo, no.
Okay.
Interesting.
Thank God we don't need it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Dave, do you find that a lot of, how do I put this, that people bring plants from other parts of the world not really knowing what we should be growing around here?
Oh, I'm sure people do that, but I know that sometimes you have difficulty bringing them if you're taking them by air, because at airports and stuff, a lot of times it's like bringing plants back from Hawaii. They have to be certified before you can bring them back. So I would guess that with a lot of other plants too, that's the situation.
Okay. Heat is definitely part of the discussion right now. It's going to be another hot weekend.
Right.
Is there anything that we should be doing for our lawns at this point? Because mine looks crispy.
Well, it depends. I hate to start watering yet, because if you do, we have to keep on watering. But we can reach a point, too, where it's too late to do any good. So it's not at that point yet, but I don't know. This hot, no rain stuff's tough.
I had a chunk of my boulevard replaced recently, and whoever came and they put the spray, the hydro seed down,
mulch, yeah.
it has nothing's growing in it except for it's got a good amount of purslane in there, some other weedy looking things. Even though they put the hydro seed down, I feel like I need to be seeding it myself.
You probably do, because even the hydro mulch, the advantage of that, of course, it holds the moisture better than having nothing mixed in with it. That's the advantage, but you still have to water. You can't just count on that doing the job for you, because in this kind of a situation, obviously it didn't.
Right. Okay, so if they've tried to plant grass there, it's not. Weeds are starting to take it over. What's my best course of action for going back to square one?
How long ago did they put it down?
3 weeks ago?
3 weeks ago, yeah. You should see something by now, but I hate to have you going. You could go and get all the weeds out and then plant your own grass seed there. But the other option is just leave it alone until after Labor Day, when it's a lot more conducive to starting grass.
Yeah.
You could do that.
What happens if those weeds start to take over? Am I just weeding by hand? Is that the best thing to do?
Well, yeah, you could do that. But if you don't have any grass coming up by now, you could probably almost use a hoe on it.
Oh, yeah? Sure.
I think so, because if it's not come up by now, it's probably not going to.
Okay.
And the amount of grass seed you need for the area probably isn't that great anyhow.
It's not really.
Yeah. So
it's still going to cost me an arm and a leg for grass seed, but it's just not as big of.
It's just super expensive, like everything else.
And okay, so if we are deciding now we're going to wait, right? We're going to wait until after Labor Day because it's going to be cooler, hopefully a little more moisture coming down, stuff like that. Is there anything we should be doing with these bare spots in our lawn right now that we should be looking at before we are going to plant grass in a month and a half?
Well, not besides keep the weeds down.
Yeah.
Especially if there's any grassy weeds in there. Any quackgrass or any of that kind of weed in there. Or that, can't even think of the name, but we spray for it every spring. You use a pre-emergence for it. If you're getting that, it's very flat and it gets a million seeds on each plant.
Okay.
If you get that, of course, get that out of there, because that'll self-seed something terrible. So, but most of the grassy stuff keep out.
I mean, I thought we were supposed to be like, if we're having trouble growing grass, we're also supposed to be having trouble growing weeds, right?
Not likely. No, the weeds are still here because they're very competitive and they just hang in there because everybody's trying to kill them. So they really hang in well compared to other things that we want.
I've noticed that this has been a pretty prolific year for ants. making some pretty massive hills out there.
Right.
Any suggestions for ant hills in your lawn or gardens?
Basically, you go out and get a chemical for that because it's very common to find ant chemicals for controlling ants out in stores that sell chemicals. It's real common. So you probably go out there and you'll see some of the big ant on the front of it. It's probably for ants. So.
Do you have to worry about using some of that stuff? I mean, they'll say whether or not you can use it around plants, right?
Right. Usually, ant stuff isn't a problem on plants. No, that's totally different. Plants, it would be a herbicide to kill plants, but it's an insecticide to kill ants. So it really shouldn't have any crossover.
All right. So once you take care of the colony, you can still have that giant mound of dirt out there.
Rake it down, yeah.
Just rake it down.
Right, rake it down, water it really good. So if it does get compacted, when you rake it down, you'll probably knock the mound down to some degree, and if there's something underground, hopefully that will collapse. If not, then give it a good watering. That'll help it collapse.
Okay. I can do that.
Someone asks, when is the best time to trim lilacs?
Well, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to cut them to the ground or really reduce the size, just wait until next spring before they leaf out and do that. If you want them to flower again the following year, then when they're done flowering, you clip them back and then they flower again next year. So it depends what your goal is.
Okay, someone said, I had the most beautiful potted begonia that I've ever had. The squirrels have eaten every bud that were ready to bloom. Any deterrent ideas?
Well, maybe you could take, if it's in a pot, maybe you could throw a handful of mothballs or something in there and see if that deters them. And there are things like dried blood that we use for rabbits and other kind of pests. So you could probably you can buy that too. You could throw that in there. It's something that gives off an odor that repels them is what it is. Otherwise, they're going to be back.
I know. I was like, can you even create a physical boundary for a squirrel?
Oh, it's just about impossible because
they're
pretty much
bendy.
smarter than anybody.
Right.
So they can get in almost anything.
Would it be okay to dig up a small bush and move it to another spot? I planted it this spring, so it's newly planted.
It would be better if you waited until, like talking about planting grass, it would be better if you waited until just after Labor Day when it starts to cool down and we get more moisture. Right now, it's going to be tough. And when you do dig it up, make sure you cut it back, shape it up a little bit when you dig it up and replant it. But right now, it'd be really tough because it's going to be disturbed and it's hot and it's dry. And even though you water it in good after you transplant it, it's still tough on them to get established again.
Yeah, it's tough to keep things alive during this hot weather,
right.
let alone try to
it.
reestablish something. If you've got cucumber flowers, but you're not developing any fruit.
Well, that's pretty common on cucumbers. And actually what happens with cucumbers and a vine crop is there are male and female flowers. And if you look at a cucumber and some of them, and it's just a flower without a little cucumber behind the flower, that's a male flower. And they usually come first. So you get a lot of flowers, and the flowers drop off, and people wonder why they're not getting them. And that's because of the male flowers. The female flowers on any of the vine crops come behind the flower, or the little cucumber, the little squash, whatever, comes behind the flower. And those are the ones that, if you're getting pollination, those are the ones that develop into your fruit.
Okay.
Are we to the point now where if we're not seeing that, the blush is off the rose, so to speak, for the year? Is there still a chance to make that happen?
Oh, to get cucumbers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no problem. We should, I would guess now that they're probably flowering with a lot of male flowers, maybe not so many female flowers, but if you've got them, just go out and look at them, and you'll be able to identify them real easy.
Oh, okay.
And if they don't pollinate, the ones with their little cucumber behind the flower, if they don't get pollinated, they will just turn to mush and drop off. So that's what happens if you don't get pollination. But we used to talk about going out if you not get good pollination, taking a broom out and basically sweeping the cucumbers. And what it does, it stirs up enough air movement so it takes the pollen from the male flowers and gets it on the female flowers.
How do you kill this? Oh, sorry. Did you have a follow-up to that?
I was just going to say, I also have never seen tomatoes as early as we have this year. We're already tomato heavy in our house, and beautiful red tomatoes. Must be that heat a little bit, huh?
I'm sure it is. The one problem with heat, though, is tomatoes are a little sensitive to really hot heat and heat and cold can affect the pollination on tomatoes. So sometimes when it's really hot out, we just don't get much fruit because they don't pollinate. And sometimes the same way if it's cold, we don't get much fruit. So obviously yours must like the conditions the way they are.
I think it's just there's the right amount of shade. Jill waters at the right time of day.
Must be it.
It's pretty good. So, Amy, you were asking that question in our text club. How do you kill thistle? If I spray it, will it grow back?
Oh, yeah, probably. You'll have to keep after it. Because I've got a neighbor that's got some thistle, and they keep creeping in, and every time I see one that's there, I'll use Roundup or something like that on them to take them out. Or you can get this poison ivy control for poison ivy. You spray that on them. It'll kill that particular one, but they're very aggressive, so they will send up new ones around. So you have to keep after them. It's not a one-time shot.
Is thistle coming from a seed it's giving off, or from does the root structure?
What's happening is they've got them on their side of the fence, and they get under the fence and get on my side. It's sort of like ferns. If you got one fern, pretty soon you got 50 ferns. It's like rabbits. You get one, you got 50. So, but it's underground that they spread. Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard someone say, "Oh no, I can't spare any ferns."
Yeah,
that's something that's never been said.
Right. It's sort of like rhubarb.
It is, right? Exactly,
yeah,
right?
This is Plant Talk with horticulturalist Dave Decock on KFGO. Plant Talk with Dave Decock is on the air. Someone says, I have thistles growing in my adult evergreens. Roundup or what, Dave?
Well, you can certainly use Roundup. The thing with Roundup is if you don't spray it on something green, it doesn't affect the plant. Like if you spray Roundup around the base of a large tree, it's not going to affect the large tree. It has to get on green tissue to be effective. So Roundup would work good in that situation. You don't want to get it on the needles, but if you can spray around the base and just hit each thistle's coming up, give them a good shot. That's probably the most effective way to go.
I always think of the sponge method, where you put on gloves and then literally,
Yeah, that's the quackgrass and lawn. But quackgrass, see, with Roundup, so Roundup works really good in quackgrass because its specialty is grasses. So Roundup works really good in quackgrass, but it works really good on lawns too. So
yeah, it'll work well on thistles though as well.
Oh yeah, it'll work on thistles.
Okay, when you say this is a bad time to, dig or divide something, what about planting a new tree at this time of year?
Well, like I say before, I would, if it was my choice and you have a choice, then I would wait until after Labor Day if you're going to do it. If I had a real total choice, I'd do it in the spring right away. But if you really want to get it in this year, I would get it after Labor Day when it starts to cool down and we tend to get more rain. Not that we will, but that's the way the trends typically are.
What about pruning evergreens?
Well, what I like to do in evergreens is I like to wait until August to prune them. That way, if you prune them and shape them, they don't get much new growth again, so they look good through the winter. And if you prune them in the spring or earlier in the year, they'll grow again, and so they don't look as nice and tailored looking as if you do it in August. But they should be done in August. You shouldn't go beyond that.
Okay. And what about plant leaves that are twisting and curling?
Oh, that typically it's very common when people are out spraying dandelions and spraying weeds because the things used on dandelions volatilize very well. It means that they get into a gaseous form, they get in the air and they blow around. And when they land on a plant like a tomato, they'll cause the leaves to get really distorted. They'll get twisted and kind of curled all out of shape. And if it's just a teeny bit, then, of course, you're going to get some leaf rolling and twisting and curling. If they get sprayed totally, then it'll just totally kill the plant because tomatoes are very sensitive to it.
Okay, this is Plant Talk with Dave Decock, taking all of your lawn and garden questions. You can text in now at 35270, or you can give us a call, 237-5948, 800-880-5346. Plant Talk with horticulturalist Dave Decock is on the air and brought to you by Jean's The Right Plant Place, The Garden of Healing, Chisholm Trail Farm, Buffalo River Sales, Strand Ace Hardware, and Thompson Greenery. Let's get back to it. It's Plant Talk on KFGO. Plant Talk with Dave Decock is brought to you by Jean's The Right Plant Place, The Garden of Healing, Chisholm Trail Farm, Buffalo River Sales, Strand Ace Hardware, and Thompson Greenery. Dave, someone wants to know, what's the best time to transplant strawberry plants? Spring, Labor Day?
Well, it depends when you can do it. You can do it after Labor Day, but you could also do it in the spring. I guess it depends when you have the time and when you want to do it. I guess if I was starting with new plants, I would probably plant those in the spring. They're probably more available in the spring than they would be other times. But as far as transplanting your plants, usually what I used to do with strawberries is strawberries have runners and they tend to spread out. And the most productive strawberry plants are 2-year-old plants. So what I would do is each year I would just go in and thin out plants. I would take the older ones, the 3 or 4 or 5-year-old big, and they're the bigger plants. I would pull those out, and that would make room for the other plants to fit in. So that's the way I would redo my strawberries. But as far as taking rooted runners and transplanting, you could do it after they send out the runners in the spring, or you could take some of the smaller plants out to thin out the plants and do that after Labor Day. So it would depend how you want to do it and what you're doing.
Sure. Someone says, can an overgrown yew bush be trimmed now or just wait until spring? It is large and beautiful, like YEW. Did I say that
right? That's a yew. Yeah. They could be trimmed in, like I say, they could be done in August. The advantage of doing them then is that they don't get any new growth after that. They look good all through the winter. If you do it earlier in the year, they'll continue to grow, and then they look kind of ratty again. So I used to do my evergreens in August.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what these are. I just didn't know that was the name of them.
Right, yeah, right.
They're like that traditional hedge.
They're more of a shade. They're more of a shade lover to the yews.
Oh,
they're a lot like the arborvitaes. So,
okay.
Yeah.
How many words are named yew? There's like the animal, there's the yew, like you go over there, and now there's this plant too.
Right.
Yeah.
Enough. Yeah. My goodness.
Are you unhappy with that?
It's just a lot of homophones. A lot of homophones.
Strange thing to be upset about. Dave, is there anything we can do now for our apple tree with coddling moth problem?
No, not really. Coddling moth is one of those kind of things that gets treated in the spring with an insecticide just after the fruit set. So you let the fruit set and then you spray it, and what happens is the insect lays her egg into the base of the fruit, and then the worm hatches out and basically eats the inner part of the fruit out. So I'm not sure there's anything you could do now. You could always use a systemic or something, but if you use the systemic, of course, then you don't want to use the fruit. So I think with those, you want to make sure next year when you get fruit set, you get malathion or something and treat them so that the treatment is there before the insect lays her egg into the fruit.
Okay. Dave, is there any way to get rid of creeping Charlie in the lawn?
Well, there are herbicides that you can use for that. It has to be something for hard to control weeds. The creeping Charlie and clover and some of those, they're hard to get rid of, and so the normal dandelion spray won't do the job on them. But you have to use something for hard to control weeds, and you'd want to try and do it in the spring and when they're really actively growing. This time of the year, now weeds don't control very well this time of the year because they're like the grass and like everything else. It's dry and they're slowed down growth. And if the growth is slower, they're not growing at all, the herbicides don't work. So you need to do that. Usually we'll treat those things either right away in the spring when they just green up, or after Labor Day, of course, they have a growth spurt then because we get more rain, it gets cooler, they start growing actively again. That's the time you can go after them.
Are you fertilizing the lawn right now, Dave?
No. There's no purpose to fertilizing if you're not watering.
Okay, so only fertilize if you're watering?
Yeah, if you do a lot of watering, you can fertilize. Otherwise, no good reason to fertilize because it just lays there. And the grass is not going to respond to it because it needs moisture to grow.
Okay. Are you fertilizing your vegetables right now?
Well, I don't have very many vegetables. I would probably fertilize. I've got a couple of tomatoes is all I've got, and that's not enough that I'm going to bother with fertilizing. But if we had better growing conditions, I would say using something like Miracle-Gro now would be a good idea. You can use it every couple of weeks, but we want to have good growing conditions. So if you're doing a lot of watering, of course, fertilizing vegetables is good. If you're not doing much watering, then I'd be a little bit hesitant about doing it when it's this hot and dry.
Same goes for flowers?
Right. Same goes for everything, yeah. If they're growing, now things in pots, of course, you have to fertilize more because in pots you water probably every day. And when you water, the water running through tends to dissolve the nutrients in the soil, in the fertilizer, and it washes them out the bottom. So with pods, you probably need almost fertilize every week.
Okay. What best time to water plants, of course, in the morning?
It would be early in the morning, yeah.
But the other day I was like, oh, it's pretty cool out tonight,
Right.
so I watered them at night.
Right.
Right? I mean, it's the hot that you don't want overnight, right?
Yeah, and you don't want the leaves to stay wet through night.
Sure.
That's the problem. If they stay wet, then any fungal disease that's out there is going to try and gets into the plants when their leaves are wet at night.
Okay. Could tomato blight? Haven't heard anyone complain about that yet.
No, you probably won't with this kind of condition because tomato
Okay.
blight, it's a fungus, and funguses need moisture on the leaves to get into the leaf. So people, if they're watering and you keep the water on the ground, or if you water early morning, it dries off right away. With this kind of weather, you don't get much blight problem. If we get a lot of frequent rains and wet conditions, then you get a lot of problem with tomato blight.
Okay. Let's get to the phone lines. Boyd is waiting for you, Dave.
Hi, Boyd.
Hey,
Yes.
just a quick question,
Sure.
a couple of them actually.
Okay.
I like my jalapenos, and I grow them at home, and I have 12 months out of the year. I keep them in a window box with a
Sure.
grow light. And
Right,
I started some new plants. I didn't start the plants. I bought the plants.
right.
And they were very healthy. They looked great, and they were actually flowering in the small pots. And
Right.
so I thought we'd better get those repotted them into some soil, and unfortunately I didn't get the soil that I wanted.
Right.
Kind of got a cut rate brand.
Okay.
And wouldn't you know it, now I have like a kabillion little dinky, tiny flies, smaller than fruit flies.
Sure.
And the plants are looking pretty sorry right now.
Okay.
Any ideas on what I can do to bring that back?
They're probably fungal gnats, is the little flies. They lay eggs into
Right.
the soil, and you get little worms in the soil. Keeping the plants on the dry side will help that. Leave them dry out fairly well between waterings will help some with the fungal gnats because they need a moist soil. The other thing would be to put just a touch of vinegar in the water when you water and use that. There also, I would guess, there's probably some insecticides like this spinosad, which is an organic insecticide, something like that. You could possibly use that in the soil too. That would at least kill the worms that are in the soil. But that's part of the problem. Yeah, and I'm sure it came in that soil you got. It probably was loaded.
Yeah, that was definitely the issue. It was the potting soil.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to use.
And I did see online, of course, YouTube makes us all experts at everything, but
right.
That you could use a small amount of hydrogen peroxide in your water too.
Yeah, but I think a lot of times bleach is more used. Bleach could be used too, but it'd have to be very dilute. But that tends to be used more for diseases and stuff in the soil. The bleach does, but it's certainly not going to hurt. But follow the directions so you don't use it too strong. You don't want
About how much vinegar too, and it should be white vinegar, I would imagine.
Right. I would guess maybe like a teaspoon in a cup or two of water or something like that. But I don't think the vinegar is going to be a problem. It wouldn't be like the bleach. If you overdid the bleach,
I'm going to try that.
You could try that. You might go and do a search too and see about something. Type in vinegar for insect control in soil and see what you get.
And I know I have in the past used neem oil. Is that any kind of would that work for them or probably not?
I don't know that it'll work for them. I think it's got to make contact.
Right.
I think.
Well, okay. I'm going to try the vinegar trick
great.
then.
See what happens. It's safe too. So okay. Yeah. Bye bye.
Thanks, Boyd. Kay has called in.
Hi, Kay.
Hi.
Yes.
I once, 2 years ago, I had fungal gnats everywhere in my apartment.
Right.
And the only way I could get rid of them is I bought some mosquito bits
Right.
at, I guess, one of the reputable nurseries in town.
Right.
And the instructions on the package, you'd have to follow that, but it's Bacillus thuringiensis that is
Right.
washed down into the soil and
Right.
will kill the larva.
Right.
And
That's what you want to get.
yeah, and so that's the way I got it. And now Miracle Grow makes a potting soil for indoors. It's and it's on the after indoor potting soil. What does it say here? It's impervious to gnats. After I had this thing with Miracle Grow potting soil, I called Miracle Grow and talked to them about it, and I said the gnats are just terrific. And the next year they came out with the soil, so they put something in it. It's in a gray bag, and I have not been able to see it in nurseries lately anywhere.
Have you checked Amazon?
I did buy it on Amazon. Yes,
Okay.
they did have it there, so I bought 2 great big bags of it. But it used to be everywhere for a few years, but this last spring I wanted more.
Right.
But it's nest prone to gnats is what it says on the bag. So.
Oh, and I just looked up this mosquito bits for mosquitoes and for fungal gnats. Does this work for mosquitoes too? Like, are you using this at your house, Kay?
We don't have mosquitoes this year.
Well, we definitely do. Not as many here in Fargo, but in the Lakes area, they're out. They're out.
What this is for is that's what the city, when they're out going to ponds and standing water, they throw these in the water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it would work.
That's the thing that's good for. So
it would be good in standing water, yeah.
Yeah, so mosquitoes, you're still going to get mosquito spray.
Right.
Yep. Okay, I got you.
Well, thanks for calling, Kay. It's something new people can try.
And I heard earlier about Japanese knotweed.
Yeah.
I had a client that I had for 21 years, and she had a patch of that between cement sidewalk and a driveway, and it came up every year. It came up in all the cracks it could find, and I would spray it in the spring, but it came back. It's got a real pretty flower in the fall of the year, but boy, you have to keep on top of it to get rid of it.
Interesting. So it is here.
I think when they had their yard landscape, somebody somewhere planted it in that little spot.
Oh, okay, sure.
I think
now,
it came on its own.
What's the thing about bamboo like? They talked about when
it's segmented when it grows.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's just segmented, but it's not tough. You can cut it off with a pruner.
Okay. It's not going to go through concrete or anything like that.
Well, if there's a crack, it will.
Right. Okay. Well, I envisioned it going through a concrete wall, and I thought, boy, I've never heard of anything like that
close,
here.
But close.
Yeah. It's like water. It finds the source of least resistance.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, thanks, Kate. Appreciate all your info. Thanks for calling. Always good to hear from you.
Yeah.
Great day.
Yeah.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And Dave, thanks for another great edition of Plant Talk. Appreciate it.
Sounds great. Thank you for having me.
Plant Talk's back next Thursday from 1 to 2 o'clock. Brought to you by Thompson Greenery, Strand Ace Hardware, Buffalo River Sales, Chisholm Trail Farm, The Garden of Healing, and Jean's The Right Plant Place.